All right, we are live, y'all. Here we are back again by popular demand. My man Bobby Spags,
What's up,
and
Bill?
to have him on, y'all. He's been at this in terms of preparedness stuff. Y'all. We've had a lot of questions. In fact, I've been getting a ton of emails. Desperate. Oh shoot! Let me turn this down. Desperate emails as of late. Everybody hitting us up about the food crisis, what we can do, the thing going on with Ukraine. I don't even think I'm allowed to say that, so they probably dumped the feed after a while. People are wondering what's up with the grain markets. We're going to try to hit and touch on all of it, but we're going to also trust to Bobby's expertise. So, with that, Bobby, good to have you, bro.
Good to be here, Billy.
What's
Glad to
on
be
your
here.
radar? What's on your radar, bro? I'm going to ask you in a minute about that crazy shirt. But I know, and folks, by the way, we were supposed to have Bobby on last week. I had a series of unfortunate, unbelievable events that unfolded. So we didn't get to have him on Mother's Day because he was really, really insistent about doing this show on Mother's Day. We're bringing on Bobby once a month, y'all, for all this Q&A regarding all things preparedness. But he really wanted to hit it up on Mother's Day. Bobby, why don't you drop it and tell everybody why Mother's Day, why you wanted to have it that day?
I wanted. I've kind of had this impression, a thought impressed upon me for quite some time now, specifically to talk to men. And on Mother's Day, what better day than to give the ladies a little bit of yeah, I know what he's talking about by addressing issues that I think are at the foundational collapse of American society.
All right, so I'm guessing you're thinking it's rooted in men. Um,
Yes.
boy, I could tell you stories. I had to go to the mall today in Asheville. I'll pick that up in a little bit. But what specifically are you concerned with?
It's time for men to reclaim their birthright. It is time for men to put down the Xbox controller. It is time for men to put down their sports ball. And it's time for men to be men. And there is a crisis in the United States and also in the rest of Western civilization, be it Canada or Europe or Australia, where men are not men. And women have been forced, because of our ineptitude, to pick up the slack of society for far too long. And as a result, we have unhealthy schools, we have unhealthy homes, we have unhealthy children, we have unhealthy marriages. And I lay the blame exclusively at the feet of men because they're not men anymore. They have become decadent, they have become soft, they have become materialistic, self-centered assholes, and it is absolutely no wonder that women are being driven into a situation where they have to cling to things like third wave feminism and progressive politics, because the people in those circles are the only ones speaking to women at this point because their men just aren't speaking to them.
Bobby, I mean, I think there's a whole gang of people out there giving you an amen right now. And by the way, folks, if you're just getting in here, please do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up. I guess it tells whatever algorithm to go out there and tell the other algorithms that we're live. And Bobby is already right out of the gates blasting. Bobby, I can't agree more with you, man. Even before I started doing this full time, you couldn't it was a running joke, at least I had among some of the other people that I know that are awake like yourself, that the only conversation I could have by and large with most guys in the electric trade or otherwise, if it wasn't football, if it wasn't NASCAR, there was, in fact, I was made fun of on a job one time because I didn't know the start back when I lived up near you in Kansas. I
Yeah.
didn't know the starting lineup. I didn't even know who the quarterback was for the Kansas City Chiefs. And these guys were dogging me like I was like, who, you don't know who that is? And I'm like, okay, bro, what's your First Amendment? And then you could hear a sudden hush come over the rest of them. And,
Mhm.
they thought the Bill of Rights was something you leave back for the waiter, when you're done with the
Right.
meal. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more, man. Bobby, before you get to that, bro, I want to kind of knowing where this conversation was going to lead. I'm wearing, and I'm going to get in the frame so you can see it, my latest t-shirt. It's one of my favorite. Make men
Yes.
win again. Officer
Yep.
Tatum.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to tell you, of all the, there's a lot of YouTubers out there. They got hats they wear, they got aprons they wear, especially in the homestead space. They always have some sort of, thing that marks them. For me, I guess it's a T-shirt, because I'm not going to wear Abercrombie stuff. I'm going to wear the stuff where I promote somebody else who is a liberty-minded person, preferably. And I'm going to tell you, of all the T-shirts I've ever worn in my life, and I've had this one probably 2 weeks, and I've worn it several times, I've gotten more grief, more heartache, more stress from any other shirt. And believe me, I've had some on that some people, I used to have a permaculture pimp daddy shirt, ate large quantities of caca over that. But that didn't have nothing on the one I'm wearing right now, where people are walking away from the counter to help me in the whole 9 yards. In fact, I didn't even wear it today when I went to town, because if I have to go to a retail counter, these clowns are taking off like I just set the place on fire. So back to you, Bobby. I mean, I wanted to break this shirt down and tell you, look, man, you're getting an amen from me. And hey, y'all, holler if you hear me. Y'all hit that thumbs up and tell Bobby if you agree with what he's saying. But back to you, buddy.
The fact that anybody would give you grief over that shirt is the actual symptom of the problem. It's the symptom of the problem. And we are headed for catastrophe in the United States. And whether we're talking about a shortage or a crisis, an invasion, a reset, it doesn't matter which catchphrase you want to throw on it. The fact of the matter is, we are heading for catastrophe. We are heading for danger, and there will be precious few men to stand between everybody else and that danger. Historically, in this country, less than 1% of the population has been in the military. Okay. Now, I'm going to preface that. I'm not going to start flag waving. I'm not going to get nationalistic. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, historically, there's already a low percentage of men who see themselves as being needed in the role of guardian. That's even less today. And that's a crying shame, because intrinsically, that is our birthright. That is what we evolved or were created to do. And we don't even have to get into the discussion of gender roles or who does what. There are plenty of women who can be protectors too. I'm not saying this in some weird patriarchal sense. I'm just saying it that by and large, biology dictates that it's us that stands between the women and children and the wolves. And right now, there is a commanding percentage of people with our chromosome that are not standing between the women, the children, and the wolves. They are back with the women and the children, and women have been thrust into a position, and now all of a sudden they have to pay the bills. They do all the grocery shopping. They make the financial decisions. And like I've said before, when it comes to preparedness, women drive the train. They have for a very long time. Every expo I ever put on, including the ones you are part of our team on, you'd watch the guys. They'd come in and they would run to the gun table, and that's all they'd care about. They'd want to look at the guns. They'd want to look at the flashlights that you put on a gun. And it was their wives carrying one child in this arm, a diaper bag on their back, leading another child by the hand and looking at the seeds and looking at the solar panels and looking at water purifiers. And their dude is over here having a love affair with another rifle. And I love rifles. I love the guns. I'm not saying anything bad about that. But they're not up front looking at anything else to protect. They're like channel vision. And I remember thinking, even in my younger days while putting on those shows, why are the men not at this table looking at the heirloom seeds? Why are the men not? If she's carrying the kid, why isn't the guy carrying the diaper bag? Why is the wife kid diaper bag another kid while he's just running around doing his thing?
Bobby, I think Vicky said it all right there. Vicky, thank you so much. And I think it's a number of things, but she points out something very, very important. And she says, she always makes a lot of great statements, but she says there are toxins in the air, food and water and environment that are designed to scramble sexuality, human and animal. Now that is like so true. I can't even see straight. But Bobby, I want to take you right back. I want to go into that a little bit more. But as a little side note, I guess I kind of owe you a little bit of an apology talking about some of these expos. I used to MC some of Bobby's expos that he used to put on back in the past. They were quite large. And I remember, by and large, at these expos, you're going to see a lot of alpha males. If not, they're pretending to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hadn't seen Bobby in a little while. I go up and I hug him, and I think you had a little scruff on your face. And of course, I'm always clean shaven, notwithstanding what you're looking at right now. And I go up and I remember hugging you, and I said, "Oh man, your whiskers tickle." And then a sudden hush came over everybody around. They were like, every guy was like, "Say what?" And I was like, "Oh, good night." And I remember there was at least 5 or 6 guys around there. Of course, many of us know each other, but we all busted out laughing at some point in time.
Yeah.
But that going right back to what you said though, guys have acquiesced. They've basically taken a back seat. And if I wear a shirt that, for those of you just getting in here, if I get the most grief I've ever had wearing a shirt like that, well, what does that tell you about the status of where we are right now? The status quo definitely doesn't look good. I mean, if I'm one of these, okay, like you said, not to put on the flag or wave or any of that kind of stuff, but if I'm an enemy and I'm thinking, when is a good time to go in there and kick down the doors? I mean, half the kids I saw, and I'm probably going to eat some garbage over this, but look, I don't care. They're already shadow banning me anyway. They're basically, I'm getting a bunch of people telling me, hey, we're no longer subscribed. A bunch of people saying this and that. Well, you hit me with your best shot, y'all. I've already made my point. I've unlocked enough minds, I think, on there so I could go to another platform if I need to. So I said all that to say this. When I'm at Asheville today, I'm sitting there and I tell, I got to be careful how I say this part. I tell Michelle when I get back to her, and I'm like, you know what? Half of these kids, you could dress up in ballerina slippers, put water wings on them, and shoot them out of a cannon, or stick them on a stage and sing "Good Ship Lollipop," and nobody would even break an eyebrow. I mean, I'm seeing things in there that even 10 years ago you would never see. Now, I'm not dogging these people. If you're an adult, you choose whatever lifestyle you want. But I'm seeing this in kids. I saw a kid that was junior high that had fake boobs. I'm like, dude, what planet am I on? This kid is in junior high. And I'm like, you can't even figure out what you want to eat it that day, but you decide you're going to go ahead and have your junk chopped off. I mean, come on, man.
Yep.
Going back to what, Bobby, I'm sorry if I've gone too far afield here, but this is one of those topics, man, that honestly is going to drive me into therapy if I don't get back to the farm quickly enough. Vicky's right. I don't know if it's the water. Danny talked the other night in his live last night. I think he was talking about some of the soy they put in the baby formula. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if all these guys are on all soy diets. I don't know, but I'm not seeing any testosterone in there.
Right. Speaking of Danny, I'm going to be on their show on Tuesday. Yeah, Danny and Wanda reached out. I'm going to be on Deep South on Tuesday. That's going to be awesome.
I can't wait to set the timer for that one. I can't wait to get all you guys in the same room.
Yep. Oh, dude, yeah, it would be so great to get all of us together. I like your idea that you had mentioned about some sort of roundtable with all these different channels. Danny and Wanda, you, Tag from Life Done Free. I see the Bug Out channel has commented a couple times. That's a buddy of mine. He goes by 86. This is actually his shirt, to be honest. This is his project. But yeah, having a bunch of us in one place. Eventually, if you get enough strong voices in one place, they can't ban you all. They have to make money, right?
It's the advantage of joint wisdom. That's what that tactic is called. It's called, you're using the Delphi technique for positive. Like, speaking of friends, my pastor, Homestead pastor, he's my pastor. He's in this thread right here. We went out to eat with him and his wife, Miss Robbie Lynn. Y'all check out his channel. You'll be glad you did. That's where I go to church right now because, well, that's a whole nother front porch conversation. Well, check this out. We were eating at a place up in Tennessee, laid back, easygoing place. I looked around there. I see men to the left and right of me. Even the boys were growing into men. Not one person batted an eye when I wore this shirt, and I did wear this shirt. Not one person batted an eye up there. But I go to Asheville, and they're ready to tar and feather me. Bobby, do you have anything to say regarding some of these chemicals that are in the food? And do you think?
Yeah. Yep.
I know you can pretty much talk about anything.
I split kind of down the middle on this issue. I am very much in favor of the fact that science, and I'm not talking about modern corporate government sponsored science, But science is a wonderful thing. It is a method. It's not an actual thing. It's a method, right? And through the method of science, we have alleviated damn near starvation across the planet because we have bettered certain types of foods. The problem is the companies that are in charge of doing this don't have your best interest at heart. They're using the fact that they're feeding the world as the footnote to push the fact that there are dangerous chemicals, toxins, pesticides, herbicides. And yeah, there's probably stuff falling out of the back end of an airplane in the sky coming down. There's probably some stuff that they're mixing into the municipal water supply. I mean, I could go on and on with the tinfoily stuff that I believe. But the world right now is designed so that a certain percentage of people will make as much money as possible to keep you sick and addicted to the corporate medical system. They have no interest in your wellness. They have no interest in your well-being. And even though science has allowed us to feed the world, it has come at the great cost of the fact that our now life expectancy comes at the price of constant medical care. You know, when I'm talking to the pure GMO champions, they're like, GMOs save the world. I'm like, yeah, but it would cost. You know, sure, we're feeding everybody now, but at the same time, by the time you hit 50, you're having some kind of metastatic issue. You're having cancers. You're having your joints don't work anymore. You're having carpal tunnel. You have tennis elbow. And quite frankly, you've got a beer gut. So who gives two shits if you're living to 85 years old, if the last 30 years of it isn't quality of life, and the 30 years preceding that, you're working your fingers to the bone to do nothing but provide wealth to other people and taxes to your government?
You know, I think I could take some issue regarding GMOs and their ability to feed the world. I think there are much better methods. I know there are. We employ a lot of them too, but your point's well taken, is that they use that as leverage to push us into it, to say, okay, we did all this. Why don't you go ahead and take this? Let's put something in the air. Let's put something in the water. But look, judging by the comments I'm seeing here, it looks like we're in good company. I know we could talk the whole hour on what's going on with men in this world and how we've acquiesced and how we're missing.
That's the shame. It's not even new. It's just pronounced. I mean, let's do this. I'll say this is my last thing on this point. Let's go to the very first story in the Bible. Okay. Well, probably more like the third story. The first story is creation. The second story is the union of man and woman. The third story is about the fall of man. Okay. And so many people miss the mark with this story. We're all told in most churches today that God tells Adam, don't eat the fruit. God then makes Eve from Adam. Eve was walking through the forest one day, and there's the tree, right, with the serpent. And the serpent begins a dialogue with her. And we're all told that the reason that we can't have women who talk in the church is because the woman was deceived first. And we're all told that the Bible says that women have difficulty during childbirth because she ate the fruit and she was the first sin. But everyone wants to ignore the fact that in that story, it literally says, and Eve took the fruit and ate it, and she turned and gave to Adam, and he ate it. That dude was right there the whole time, watching that whole thing go down and didn't catch any bit of grief over it from anybody. We never hear that side of it. Today, men are sitting right there behind their wives, and they're eating the fruit too and doing nothing. And that's the problem, is that men today aren't men, and they're not taking a stand. They're not stopping evil. Adam could have just grabbed her arm and been like, hey, man, God told us not to eat this apple, right? But he didn't.
Well, there's many a guy in an early grave because of acquiescence. I mean, and I got a feeling that we're going to see a lot more of them. Now, regarding some of these comments here, Vicky, once again, is right on the money. Not just the money, but the power and control. Colleen said, homestead pastor. Wish you were my pastor. Well, he can be. I do mine virtually. He puts out some really awesome stuff, y'all. And it's honestly, if I don't put on the full armor before I walk out of this house, especially when I go to town, I'm telling you what, I might just choke slam somebody. Given the way people behave these days, there's not a whole lot of polite people. So that's part of putting on the armor for me. But Bobby, let's kind of segue into, man, I really want to stay on this topic. Boy, I want to stay on it. But I know there's other people that want so many other things. I've gotten a lot of questions, and some of them directed specifically towards you.
Sure.
Notwithstanding the one lady who said she wants to have your love child. So you might want to bring Jenny back into the picture. I don't know, I don't know if people are messing with me, but I guess you are young and pretty still, Bobby. So I guess, there's some of these folks out there that, so yeah, you might want to get her on camera again and let them know, hey, you're taking 4. Anyway, I see you got a grid down shirt. There's no way. Speaking of, since we're on the t-shirt topic, good night, man. Every other day, if you look at any media in the world, despite the U.S. media, and I'm including Fox News in there, or what I call fixed news, MSNBC, if you think you're getting reliable information from any of those people, you are sadly mistaken, y'all. Go check out, well, I was going to say it came out in 1953, I believe, where basically the CIA took ownership of all the media. And it was Operation Mockingbird under Alan Dulles, which he was a slimy dude from way back. Long history about him. Anyway, you're getting your news from them. You're not finding out that right now, every other day, there are overtures in this world. And I'm not saying you should be consumed with them, but basically people in other countries that are making threats to basically do a EMP strike or just a straight up nuke or a tidal wave that comes over with whatever. Every other day this is happening. So, Bobby, that brings me to your shirt.
Yeah.
Dude, I hope you don't know something I don't know. I mean, what's that all about?
Like I said, there's a YouTube channel that's commenting on here. I'm actually friends with the guy. He goes by the code name 86. And I won't say too much because it's not my company, but this is a shirt that I got from him to help him promote. But we all run in the same circles. You probably actually met him in Abilene at the expo. He was a vendor there. And now I work with him occasionally. We collaborate a lot. And you're going to be seeing more of this shirt and more of what comes with that shirt at some point. I don't want to give any spoilers because, like I said, it's not my spoiler to give. But yeah, in response to your EMP comment, where I work currently as a consultant, that is on the radar 98% of the time. And it is a very real threat. And with the way things are going right now, the likelihood of an EMP is higher than it's ever been in the history of modern warfare. I would postulate that my own personal opinion is that a nuke strike is probably pretty much off the table when it comes to the major countries. What a rogue country does with something that they are given by a major country is a different story altogether. But I would put good money on the fact that Russia, China, the United States, England, we're not going to launch an ICBM anytime soon, not to nuke a city. But in the US, it takes one bomb, one detonated at high altitude. It's called a HEMP, high altitude EMP, right over where I live, Kansas, right in the middle, and it will knock out the entire country. And the prevailing wisdom is that it won't just be one, it will be a series of these devices that will be detonated in a certain pattern in order to continuously frustrate rebuilding efforts. And there are devices you can get to protect your home. There are devices you can get to protect your vehicles, your solar arrays. They work. I know you rep EMP Shield. I do consulting with EMP Shield. They're a great company. They just had their products tested at a lab called Meditech, run by a man, Dr. Radowski, who's the godfather of all things EMP in this country. He sat on the EMP commission for decades. He's given counsel to every president, I believe, since Carter. He personally tested these products and they work. So yeah, I would say now is a very good time to procure items like this to protect yourselves.
I know I do. I mean, that's why I reached out. I don't need to get to I just need to get home. If something jumps off, I'm not looking to go here and there, man. Everybody's like, well, what if you're out and about? It doesn't do any good with the gas stations. Look, I'm not looking to go to a gas station. I'm looking to get to the house. I mean, that's why I'll do it. And then also for me, my biggest threat is lightning. And so, they give a guarantee that nobody matches. And as a journeyman electrician, I've been doing it for years, man. I've never seen anybody guarantee what they do. So that's why I do stand behind it. Now, let's move on. I know we talked a lot. Hey, by the way, y'all, hit that thumbs up if you're on the way in. I know we talked a lot about, first men and the acquiescence. And folks, if you're just new to this program, please, when you get a chance, go back and check out the beginning, because right out of the gates, I mean, he was dropping tactical nukes. Uh-oh. Oh, so she is real. Okay. So
Again.
Yes.
Jenny, what do you want to say to the women out there offering Bobby some pretty unbelievable?
I am not for sale.
More babies. I think we got
Okay.
it. But thanks.
Bobby Toucher, people want to make sure that she's not a hologram or anything. Okay. Okay, Jenny, we had to make sure, man. These people, I don't know what's going on with these crazy emails, but they're like, oh yeah, Bobby, he's the jamming my jelly roll and whatever else. I don't know, man. These people.
All right. Somebody at the door.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like you got problems, nephew.
Probably more kids coming over. We don't need any more kids.
Every time I'm on the phone, every time I'm on with you guys, there's somebody at the door. I'm expecting some assault room entry at any point.
They heard what we're talking about. They're entering the house now.
Yeah, they'll kill the feed first.
All right.
Well, hey, we'll see you, Jenny. It's good to see you. Hey, Bobby, I definitely want to hit on this. This is a big one right now.
Sure.
And and this is part of the shadow banning that's going on in this platform, is we have record number of people getting into the preparedness movement, also getting into farming.
Yes.
Never had more emails in my life regarding the things we do. Never had more comments on videos, but somehow we go from 1,000 subscribers a day down to 35. I'm sure that's all organic, but it's all good. That's not why I do this. I want to hit you up about something that is very, very relevant to your area. You are right there in the middle of the grain belt in that part of the country. Now, one of the latest statistics that just got revealed from Pinball Preparedness the other day. Sorry, bro. I may need that EMP shield after all. We got a thunderstorm rolling in the wrong direction. So anyway. Okay, typically we're expecting of the harvest of winter wheat somewhere between 35 to 40 bushels per acre. The latest reports that came out is that they are expecting, and like I said, I got this from Pinball Preparedness. That guy's numbers is usually right on. He's saying anywhere the harvest they're expecting in Kansas and all the other grain parts that produce grain, not the 35 to 40 bushels, but 0 to 5 bushels. Are you kidding me? I mean, that is astoundingly, devastatingly unbelievable. Nobody's talking about it. Where do you see that going? Food security, bro?
Nowhere good.
Man, because a whole lot of people out here are asking questions about it. And this is why I want to bring on people like you that hear these, people can get stuff from a perspective that isn't just mine.
Sure. The food shortage is only going to get worse. The war over there in Europe right now is a contributing factor. The country currently being invaded by the other country is the breadbasket for Europe, just like the Midwest is the breadbasket for the United States. There have been, I believe, somewhere in the vicinity of 16 food processing plants and storage facilities that have been, I'll use the word attacked because I don't care. They can't ban me. I don't have a channel. They've been attacked. Fires, explosions, and even one instance of a plane flying into a building. Somehow that didn't make mainstream news. At the same time, you have major breadbasket in Europe being put under conflict. The administration currently in this country is offering corporate farms, I believe, at the rate of 2 to 1 as far as money goes, to not harvest or to destroy crops. The goal is to make you hungry. The goal is to get you to where you have to get into a soup line. The goal is to control you. And they have figured out that they can control some of you through TV, some of you through your cell phone, some of you through alpha waves from your TV and connection to possibly fluoride in the water. They've discovered they can control some of you with this and that, but one thing that will control damn near everybody is their stomach. One of the things I talk a lot about in the preparedness world when I go around and travel and give these talks to people is you might be the most moral dude on the planet. You might be the most righteous man or woman with your kids trying to get through this world. But the minute you watch your children for the first time ever in this country going through the thralls of actual hunger pains, where they're curled up on the floor, writhing in pain because their body is eating itself, good people are going to do bad things. And it's already very easy for the powers that be to demonize gun owners. All they have to do is ensure that another shooting gets put on TV. It's already easy for them to demonize people who want national security by calling them racists and promoting people with agendas and manifestos who go on shooting tirades all over the news. They can already demonize everybody, but one thing that they can do to get you to demonize yourself is to make you hungry, is to make your kids hungry, which is why you have to become food independent, at least as much as you can. You know, with my current operation, I don't buy eggs anymore. I have my own birds that lay eggs. I butcher a pig every year with my friends. We all have a pig per family, and we generally go 2 families per cow, and that's an 18-month rotation. And then we order our meat birds, and we have layers that produce more meat birds, and we all have our own gardens. I could probably say from my house and my family where I live, which is just outside of a city. So, I mean, I'm not rural, but I'm not urban. I'm not even suburban. I'm some weird thing in the middle. But I have probably replaced 60% or better of my average grocery bill with things I do myself. And I'm working this year. I planted more stuff. I've gotten raspberries in for the first time this year. My peach and my plum trees that I planted 4 years ago are finally starting to bear fruit. I'm probably going to be planting a mulberry, a crabapple, and a pear tree this year. Some of that is for animal feed, some of that is for human feed, and some of that is to make good old-fashioned booze with, quite honestly. And we're supplementing our lifestyle with the grocery store instead of supplementing the grocery store with a single tomato plant on the front porch. And people are going to need to do the same thing. If you live urban, there are tons of places you can find information how to do rooftop gardens. And even though you will never supplement yourself in the big city unless you have a big enough area with enough neighbors getting involved in some sort of co-op to replace your need for corporate food consumption, you can make a dent, right? And at some point, maybe that one tomato plant and that one pepper plant and that one lettuce plant and that, you know, those 4 stems of asparagus and the one chicken you have illegally in your apartment on your patio will be able to at least keep your kids from starving to the point where you as a good person start to do bad things. At that point, you pick up and you move, right? But until then, you have to do something to become at least partially, if not mostly, food independent, because once they have you by the balls on that, they've got you. And it is a very hard hole to climb out of. I don't care how many mountains of ammunition you're sitting on. I don't care how many guns you have. I don't care how much body armor you have. I don't care how many solar panels you have. If you can't eat, you don't have the strength to use any of it.
Bobby, that's why what you said there is paramount, because that's part of why I kind of pulled myself out to a certain extent from a lot of the preparedness groups I was into at the time, because you guys would have their pet. You were the anomaly, because by and large, a lot of the people I knew, there were other people that had it all together, but by and large, there were people that had their pet issue. It was like, I like guns, but I'm not going to worry about getting medicine or food. I like this. I'm not going to worry about getting anything else. You know, you spoke earlier about the book of Genesis and some of the first stories. Well, one of those in the book of Genesis, I just read again the other day. And it's the one with Joseph. You know, he you know, everybody pretty much knows the story, but I'll just give you the cliff notes and what I took away from it. Well, Joseph saw that there was going to be a time of famine. You know, first there was going to be a time of plenty, 7 years. So he put back. And then now consider what he put back. He put back food. He didn't put back gold, didn't put back silver, didn't put back Bitcoin. Although it's okay to have those things, but first you better get your beans and bullets on lock. You better get some water. But what happens when it was all said and done? Well, lo and behold, everybody knows the story, but I think they forget and gloss over that part in the story where ultimately people came and they sold all their cattle. Yep, Pharaoh collected that money. Next thing you know, they're selling themselves into slavery. Well, I take that same point today. And like I said, I'm not dogging Bitcoin. I'm not dogging having gold and silver. I'm not dogging any of that stuff, but you can't eat it. And at the end of the day, another Bible lesson is if you can buy a birthright for a bowl of soup, well, I'm pretty sure I could shake down some fool down the way that decided he was going to put back nothing more but, I got about, 30 rounds of whatever or whatever he thinks he has, putting that sort of thing back. But yeah, I can't agree more, man. I think there's a lot of fundamental lessons right there in the Bible that we can apply to this day. And somehow, some way, man, I'm talking, man, I got to tell you the story that happened yesterday. It's been bugging me. And Michelle's probably sick and tired of me going on about it. There was a guy I spoke to yesterday. He could tell you everything you wanted to know about 1776 and everything that happened around that time. But when I brought up any of the issues and topics we're talking about right now, he was clueless. Mm-hmm. I mean, knew everything about what happened, can tell you everything regarding the Civil War, everything that regarding the Revolutionary War. Mm-hmm. But can't tell you about the World War IV that we're likely to walk ourselves into right now. So, I guess I better not go too much into that. But
no, it's a good point. It's a good point. And I took a very unpopular position recently, and it caught me a lot of flack. Again, that's fine. There's this cute little saying called people who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. I call bullshit. There are plenty of people who know history. Our enemies know our history. Knowing history will not stop bad things from happening. Everybody out there who's a 1776er with their little 3% shirts and their American grunt style shirts, they all know their history and they're stopping nothing because they're not real men.
Touche.
It doesn't matter what you know. It matters what you practice. So knowing your history, great. What has it stopped? We are worse off today than we were under King George in 1776.
Good night, man. Yeah, they did what they did over a 3-cent tax on tea, man. And here we are getting taxed 50%. I mean, don't get me started on taxes. Yeah, that'll probably definitely get us kicked off of here for sure. But Bobby, a lot of people are also, I don't know if you want to bring this up or not, but there's that Self-Reliance Festival that's going to be happening in Tennessee.
Yep.
A lot of people want to meet you, bro. Are you going to be there?
I will be there. I'm going to go there. One of my life dreams is to get John Willis to autograph my micro rig. I have 3 of his micro rigs. I'm just going to do a quick plug. Screw it. John Willis makes the best tactical nylon, and I own 3 of his products, and I've been talking with him. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with some of my good friends from EMP Shield, some of my friends from the Bug Out channel, some of my friends from Life Done Free. We're all going to be there, and it'll be one of the few highlights of 2022 for me will be to shake that man's hand and get an autograph.
I only became aware of John in recent days, and I got to say, the guy is a doggone genius in so many different ways. And I learned a lot of really awesome things regarding, I don't know if some of these conversations we had were in confidence, but the guy, some people think he may be a little too salty. You know what? I find it a little more profane, the things that are going on in this world that people ignore than some of the words that come out of some of the people's mouths.
Yes.
I find that a higher degree of profanity where you're a man and acquiescing to your responsibility. That's more profane than some of the words I hear come out of these people's mouths.
Yep.
But I know a lot of people want to meet you, Bobby. So, folks, if you're going to be there, I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm not getting paid for my involvement. But the Self-Reliance Festival is going to be coming up in June 11th and 12th. I'll be there. They talked me into butchering a pig. So me and William are going to go ahead and do that. And I think they're actually going to eat it. I'm also going to teach a in-person class on the chicken tractor on steroids. Do any Q&A anybody might have right there regarding all that. But you're going to have some really awesome people there like Bobby, John Willis, Nicole Sauce, Jack Spirko is going to be there.
Mm.
I've been listening to his podcast, folks. If you haven't listened to the Survival Podcast, I don't know what you're thinking, because there's a whole lot of good stuff there. He's going to be there. Never had the pleasure of actually meeting him. But hey, Bobby's going to be there, and you can give him a hug and tell him his whiskers tickle. I'm going to do it, dude. You know, now that everybody's heard that story,
We're going to have to reenact this when we're there, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, these days, dude, somebody will be trying to book a room for us or something, bro. You never know.
Bro, it's 2022. The rules don't matter. It's like
you're not a biologist, right?
The rules don't matter. The points don't count.
Yeah, I mean, we're not biologists. It doesn't matter. So anybody who's looking to go to that festival, hey, y'all, we're going to be there. I know Bobby's going to be there. This is going to be a lot different than your typical festival. Not saying anything's wrong with some of the others, y'all. The price is right. You're going to be hearing homesteading from a preparedness slant. Bobby's going to be there. You could pull on his ear or his beard a little bit and ask him questions. I mean, you know, I'll be there if somebody wants to say hi or whatever. I mean, like I said, I'm usually pretty busy when I'm processing a pig. That's usually a lot of work, so I don't really get to chit chat so much. So we'll see how it all pans out.
Yeah,
folks, it's going to be a good time, and I know there's still some tickets for sale. That's once again going to be June 11th and 12th. Like I said, I'm not being paid, y'all, so don't think for a minute that I am. I'm just saying there's a lot of people out there that really want to meet you, Bobby, and a lot of people that are saying they want to meet me, they want to come here. But now there's a double-edged sword about people coming to my place, is now you know where I live. And which isn't a problem for some people, but there's other folks, man, that I've already had one guy just drive right up on the property, and I don't even want to tell you how that could have went. Well, actually, I've had 3 until I put up this drive-through gate. But it's better if we can all go to a place.
Your house, it's hard to uninvite them. A good friend of mine, Data.
Yeah,
his code name is Data, and he says it all the time. Once you invite someone to your house, it's hard to uninvite them, and he's absolutely right.
I got a gate down there, but at the same time, these people have shown up unannounced and uninvited, and this ain't the kind of place where you just want to come rolling up here. And I know you live in the same kind of thing. But Bobby, I wanted to make sure everybody who wants to meet you, is it okay? They'll have the opportunity. I guess if it isn't okay, I already let the cat out of the bag anyway.
I'm going to be consulting with the EMP Shield force that day. I'll be at that booth the whole weekend.
All right, good, because I know there's a lot of people that want to see you. I'll promote this thing a bit more, because I've done a lot of festivals, been to a lot of them, and y'all, this is one you do not want to miss.
DSH 119 just asked where to get tickets.
Yeah, go to selfreliancefestival.com. Like I said, there's other festivals out there. I think there's a lot of people capitalizing on fear, and they're charging a lot of money for some of these things. I love the fact that these guys, in fact, they're not making money on this thing. They can't be with the prices they're charging. Just like with the Back to the Land Festival that they did last time. They didn't make any money. It was just it was a party with a purpose. And so those are my favorite kinds of parties. Bobby, let's kind of segue now that I did the commercial break by accident. And folks, if you got any questions for Bobby, leave them there. And we'll try to get to them. And if I don't get to them, maybe Bobby will. Okay. So we talked about food. Folks, if you didn't hear the beginning of it, go back and listen to what he said about men and how you guys need to go out there. If you're not already, look, you need to stand up. I can't even tell you how many letters I'm getting, Bobby, from all these women. And honestly, there's men saying it on the other end, but by and large, I'd say it's at least 5 or 6 to 1 women to men. You know, I don't even know what's happening right now.
There's a void. There's a societal absence, and it has been carefully crafted by our enemies, and we have fallen for it.
Sorry,
now,
bro.
I want to make a point here that you know that I've been doing this a long time, but there was a few years just recently where I got very lazy. 2019, 2020, that period, I had just gotten so burnt out, and I was getting used to a nice, comfortable desk job, and I got fat. I got out of shape. I I'm not saying these things out of judgment. I'm saying them out of guilt. I'm saying them out of remorse for there was a period where I became a piece of shit, quite frankly. I don't ever want to feel that way again. And I certainly don't want my sons to emulate that. I want them to see the better side of me. I want other men to snap out of their doldrums and be better. Look, man, my mantra this year is that a body in motion stays in motion. I am not sitting for very long. I am getting up. I'm doing improvements to my property. I'm working on the vehicles. I'm working at the bug out locations. I am doing things like this. Just projects around the house, things that have needed to get done that I let slide for a couple of years. I'm getting on all of it. And I have chosen the nuclear option. And I am going to nuke this house until it is where it needs to be. And I'm going to do the same thing with everything else in my life, including friendships, including relationships, including my children. I had 2 years where I was lazy, and that was too much, and I can blame it on whatever I want to blame it on, but ultimately the buck stops with me, and it's time for other men to do the same thing. The reason that you're having these issues with women mailing you about these things is because they have no options. It is because there is nothing. It's a desperate wasteland right now to find a guy who knows how to change a battery in a car. I'm not talking spark plugs or an oil change or a tire. I'm talking one single bolt and a couple of things on your terminals, and they can't do it. Half these kids can't even lift the battery.
I think what it goes back to is, there was a guy with a whole lot of sense that wrote, "Adversity makes men, prosperity makes monsters." And we've been very, very prosperous for a very long time. Speaking of Asheville, when I was there earlier, how is it every homeless person, okay, a lot of these people are bums. I'm going to call them bums because I know they you can look at their shoes and tell. They got brand new tennis shoes on. The same dude I see out there with these bandages on his leg, same wound, same ketchup sprayed on there. There's a difference between a homeless and a bum. Anyway, what I'm seeing the majority of are bums.
Yep.
When I see bums out there holding cell phones, you got homeless. They got a cell phone. Okay. Our homeless live better than wealthy people in other countries. That makes you a pretty prosperous place at the end of the day, bro. And
yeah,
I think it ain't just you. I had that bout in my life too, where there was a period where you recognize, you know what, I'm not living to my potential. And like I had to get corrected earlier in the week where, I made a joke that I'm better than because I have higher creativity than I demonstrated. And sometimes we need to be corrected from time to time. And by the way, y'all, I am one of those people that when I step out of order, I welcome correction. I welcome correction. Just like King Solomon said, that's the mark of a real friend, a true friend. Thank you, by the way, Pastor Line. I do appreciate it. But that said, Bobby, let's go ahead and swing on back to that issue, man, regarding men. Because I was going to hit you up with a bunch of different topics regarding current events and how people can prepare for that. But honestly, I can't think of anything more important. Too many of us have acquiesced. I mean, what are you seeing on your end? Okay, Jenny, her friends, clearly she must know other women. Mm-hmm. What are their husbands like? Are you seeing this up close and personal, or is this something you're reading about or hearing about?
It's something I witness. As far as our inner circle, our friends, I'm not going to lie. I don't surround myself with worthless people. And some people say I'm judgmental for that. It's not judgmental. It's you become another symptom if all you do is surround yourself with symptoms. So my circle of friends are all like me, as far as they are doers. They're preparedness-minded individuals. Most of them own homesteads. They know how to work on their own stuff. They grow, in some part, their own food. Right? I don't like to associate with people that will ultimately become energy leeches. People who don't put in more than they take. There's an ebb and flow to how all of this works, and you have to be part of the ebb and part of the flow. You cannot just be one or the other. You can't just be nothing but a giver on the other side either. because you're going to wear out. You're going to blow out like a fizzled balloon after a few weeks. You have to learn the balance, and you have to learn moderation. Like you were talking about with people wanting to, these preppers who are out there and they want to buy a kilo bar of gold. Well, what the hell are you going to do with a kilo bar of gold, dude? I'm all for precious metals. I have silver and gold, but I've got dimes, man. I got little tradable bits. I don't have these big bars of gold. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, what am I going to do with this? It's going to weigh you down. I have no, like you mentioned crypto. I've got a little crypto, but not much. I'm not bankrupting my family over something I can't tangibly hold. I've got enough so that if the market swings in the opposite direction, I can cash out, make some money, and then go buy some more wheat berries or go, I look at those things as ways to counterbalance the tangibles, right? But yeah, a lot of these folks get so tunnel visioned and they only want to work in one or two or three of these areas. Look, if all you do is buy guns and ammo, you're going to eventually become the bad guy. That's just all there is to it because you didn't do anything else. And when you realize you can't shoot your bullets, you're going to go take something from somebody with the gun you bought. On the other hand, if all you do is buy wheat berries and you don't have a gun, all you're doing is saving something for the guy with the gun. So you got to balance everything and moderate what you do. And you can't let fear deter or drive what you do, but you also can't let ignorance drive what you do. You've got to get a base of knowledge and start. Just start. That's all you got to do is start. The ball will continue to roll as long as you're pushing it.
I was talking to that guy the other day, the one I was telling you knew everything about 1776.
Yeah.
And I had suggested, I brought up what I thought was universally known at this point regarding what's going on with diesel fuel and how, like you were mentioning a little bit ago, Bobby, where we got all these just coincidences happening with all these food processing facilities. Well, don't you know, right there outside of Philadelphia in a diesel fuel refining place, it's all shut down. They had another mysterious fire or something like it. I mean, I guess we're coincidence theorists out there, So anyway, all that's going down. And I tell the guy, hey, man, you might want to consider putting back a little bit of diesel for what you do. And, man, I might as well have been speaking Swahili.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, where I work 16-hour days. This time of year as a farmer, that's what I do. I'm up early. I go to bed late. It's what I do. So it's kind of hard for me to have any sympathy for a great many people out there. If I can work 16 hours a day, do what I do, still put out content, answer emails, answer questions, do all these things, which, by the way, I'm usually doing at midnight. It's kind of hard for me to feel any, man, I'm really going to test my Christian ethic here, but it's hard for me to feel any compassion for a person who goes to an 8-hour job 5 days a week, and that's it. And you're still uninformed, but you can tell me everybody on the Chiefs starting roster.
Right. Compassion is, the Christian virtues are what they are, but God only requires you turn the cheek once, man. Once they've both been hit, then what? There's a limit. There's an expiration date on everything. And okay, let's talk about the compassion thing. Look, God sent his prophet to the city, and when the city didn't listen, what happened to the city?
Bam.
It's not about Christian virtue of compassion. Have your compassion, but there's an expiration date on everything. There's an expiration date on mercy. There's an expiration date on grace. We don't know when that day is, but it could be soon.
Well, that just goes right back to what Solomon said: a time to be born, a time to die. There's a time for everything under heaven. I mean, that's not a Beatles song, y'all, by the way. That came from King Solomon. So, Bobby, we're coming near the end of it, bro. I'm going to have to get out here and get these chores done. But how do you want to round this up, bro? I think, I hope, hey, y'all, if you're just getting in here, hit that like button. I want everybody to hear what Bobby said in the very beginning of it. I think it's profound. I think it's extraordinary, bro. And I'm glad you really that really wasn't the direction where I initially hoped we would go, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did because it's very much needed. What do you have to say in closing to all those betas out there? No, what do you have to say in closing to all those guys out there that are on the fence and providing 10,000 reasons as to why they can't do anything? What would you say, Bobby Spags, to kick them in the pants to make them get loose or get lost?
The only limits you have are ones that you put on yourself. Now, I'm not talking about the obvious. If you were born with spina bifida, fine. If you were born or if you're a paraplegic, fine, right? Physical limitations being what they are, there are plenty of examples throughout history of people who were blind who changed the world. There are plenty of examples of people who were poor who changed the world. Your circumstance in the United States of America is not hard. I'm sorry, but it's not. If you think any of the things ailing you in this country are keeping you from being responsible for your own future, then I would encourage you to come to these self-reliance shows, talk to us, because, dude, it wasn't but 20 years ago I was eating tuna helper without the tuna myself, okay? And there are still times every now and then when things get a little lean. Ramen noodles for dinner tonight, guys. That's what it is, And there is no reason in today's world with the internet and the wealth of knowledge at your fingers for free that you can't do something simple to get started. And when you get that endorphin rush, when you get that rush of adrenaline and that rush, that feel-good feeling from doing something physical, as opposed to getting your rush from another red uptick on your stupid social media app, you're going to realize just how much more satisfying and fulfilling it is to have earned something through the sweat of your brow than being woke as AF on Bookface and typing something to get 900 people to uptick it for you.
That's I know we were going to kind of close it down, man, but that's extraordinary, really. It's a dreadful. Okay, let's kind of leave this thing maybe on a positive, or not a positive note, a realistic note. Where do you see this country? Because this is honestly one of the questions I get asked a lot. I have answers for them, but that's not what we're about tonight. It's about your answers. Where do you see this country by the end of this year? A lot of people, and I said we were going to keep it on a high note. I guess we're going to keep it on a truthful note, and I don't know what your answer is going to be, but a lot of people are saying, how much time do I have? Like one person wrote in the comments here, man, I don't even know what to do. I don't know where to start, any of that stuff. But I want you to kind of drop it where you think, because knowing you, I know that you've been right a lot more than you've ever been wrong, and you're looking really right about a lot of things going on right now. So where do you see this country by, let's say, Christmas?
First and foremost, I am a free market capitalist, and I will never apologize for that. A true free market capitalist sees nothing but opportunity. This country, the way you know it, will be gone by Christmas, guaranteed. But that doesn't mean that you have to be gone. And it doesn't mean that hope is lost. It just means that your current paradigm will have ended by Christmas. What comes after that is up to you. It's not up to your neighbor. It's not up to the politicians. It's not up to the bankers. It's not up to the city councilmen or the judges or the cops or the military. It's up to you. And the only way you will have any say in what happens next is if you get off your ass and start moving. A body in motion stays in motion. Get into motion, stay in motion, and see the opportunity that will come before you.
I can't think of a better way to end this, Bobby. Hey, y'all, next time we do this, I'm going to ask that anybody bring your questions ahead of time. It's kind of hard to it's helpful when I have help here for somebody to read those questions, and I'm the Lone Ranger tonight. So I know a lot of people are hitting me up every time I do an interview with Bobby. I get a ton of emails, and frankly, I get so many emails that it's hard for me to collate them. So next time we do this, we'll put out the notification maybe a couple of days earlier, and anybody that has any questions regarding the status quo, regarding anything, regarding Bobby's marital status, regarding hey, so yeah, everybody that you see him, when you see him at that Self-Reliance Festival, Make sure you tell him his whiskers
Oh.
tell him his whiskers tickle. But hey, y'all, thank you so much. I wish we could stay on a little bit longer, but William ain't around right now. He went to some, well, anyway, that's not important. He's
Maybe
not here
next-
right now, so I got to knock out all the chores. So it's just me and Michelle. Bobby, thanks a million. And as always, bro, you always, man, you bring up some really fascinating, profound points, man. It's been a real pleasure, brother.
I love you, buddy.
All right, man. Take care.
You too, buddy.